Well, hey guys, Jonathan with you once again for the daily message. So glad you could stop by. I'm really excited to share today's message with you. Would you please make sure you've subscribed? It's really beautiful to see more people subscribing. Hit that notification bell, and all the links are below here. You can get my book for free. You can book me to speak. You can find out more. And I want you today to consider going across to check the podcast version because I go a fair bit deeper as always. And today's podcast, which I've just finished a minute ago, was really quite special. So I hope you can go and check that out. Listen, today I've got to get to the airport soon. So I promise for the first time ever, I'm going to try and make this pretty quick. But I'm excited to share this one with you. I'm going to share with you a quote, which is kind of something that I don't normally share. A few weeks ago, I used an Oprah Winfrey quote, which I never thought I'd do. And I wanted to share today with you something kind of similar. I want to unpack it a little bit and give you a quote at the end, which I hope will be a blessing to you. It simply comes from an experience I had yesterday that I just really want to share. But the quote's simply this: what if life is not happening to you? What if life is happening for you? Now, I'm sure you've heard it before. What if life is not happening to you? What if life is happening for you? What I want to suggest to you is, so often when we're going through difficulty, depression, anxiety, problems in finance, relationships, parenting, work, whatever it is, it's easy to fall into a belief system that maybe some dark force is, we ran over someone's cat and we're just being punished in some way. I don't know if that's just me, but maybe it's my mindset at times, especially in my younger years, It's easy for us to start to feel that everything's against us and that no matter what we do, nothing works. But I want to make the suggestion to you today that what if there is not a force doing something to you, but there is something arranging things for you, even the difficulties. So first, what led to this concept today is simply we are very close to Karen's family. They're all up in the north of Australia. We had this huge family holiday booked. Karen and the girls left about a week ago. Aiden and I were going up on the motorbike. So he's on the back of my motorbike. It's a super long trip. And as many Australian viewers would know, we've had the most horrendous start to winter. We got on the bike. We're a fair way into the trip and we just got blown off the road. Wind gusts up to about 70 kilometers an hour. We got absolutely hammered. It was really nerve-wracking, really stressful, and physically exhausting. So we actually had to turn back. It wasn't safe to keep going. So we got back here to Canberra, and it was really deflating because this great trip that we'd planned to have together was over. We were separated from Karen and the kids, and as a family, we've always done everything together. We're pretty close. So even when I speak overseas, we're usually speaking and traveling together. So what I did when I got back was I was desperately trying to find some way to get up there to join them. Airfares were through the roof if you could even find a seat on the plane. Trains were out because of floods in Sydney. Buses were out. Car hire, I just couldn't make it happen. It was like lions and bears and locusts were going to happen next. It was like everything sort of felt like it was against me. And then at the last minute, on a particular day, I'd sort of given up hope. And I was just about to, I'd spoken to Karen and we were both pretty upset saying, this is the longest we're ever going to be apart. It's going to be awful. And just at this, I did one final check and on this airline and these two flights popped up at a super cheap price, direct flight, just perfection. And I was just blown away and we booked it and all sorted out and we're heading for the airport in about 40 minutes. But what really struck me was this sense of like God. I know many of you are not Christian, I know many of you are, but wherever you're at in your spiritual journey, I just suddenly felt like God, the universe, had just cut me a break and gone, hey, I got you back. You got this one. And I was really quite moved. Now, I know some of the cynics are going to go, oh, really? You want to think that you got airfares and that's God? Yes, that's exactly what I think. I genuinely believe that whether it was me being prompted to check the flights at that exact time, whether it was, I don't know, but that's what I believe. I just believe that something was organizing reality to bless me at that particular time and to bless our family. And if you don't believe that, well then, the universe then must be utterly random and there's no meaning to anything. So I just wanted to begin to share that that's the positive side of it, right? That once in a while, we get these breaks that are just a real blessing. So the obvious question is, what about all the times that doesn't happen? How do you explain cancer? How do you explain all the darkness that happens in the world? So quickly, the bedrock is to say that go to books like Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, go to Eddie Jaku's book, The Happiest Man in the World. Now, these are two men who lived through Auschwitz, they lived through the Holocaust, they saw their family members murdered, and they write about this human ability to believe that no matter what is happening, good can be extracted from it, that there is light in the darkness, that you can find a meaning no matter how terrible the circumstance is, right? So I want to put that bedrock in place. I want to say that the experience of suffering and loss and darkness is a very real human experience. I'm going to fix my microphone for a second here. Is a very real human experience that can affect all of us. You know, you go to the book of Job in the Old Testament, you see somebody whose life was going great and gets absolutely flattened. So we need to understand that even in the darkest experiences, how can life be happening for us? How can God be working behind the scenes? Well, I think that's exactly what's happening. Is this ability for us to find meaning and purpose even in the darkness and the suffering. How? So I shared on the podcast version, the links below here, I go in more detail, my own journey over many years with depression and anxiety. I haven't struggled with it for a very long time now by the grace of God, but many years wrestling with depression, and I was a high functioner, so nobody kind of saw it happening. This microphone's freaking me out. It's never done this before. You're seeing this live in the studio. I'm just going to fix it again. So there you go. Thank you for your patience. This is real TV. It's happening real time. I'm fixing stuff as we go. So my journey with this depression and anxiety, you know, how was that happen? How was that good for me? How was that blessing people? How was it? So look, here's what I think. The journey of depression taught me a few things. It taught me eventually about getting my body right, getting physically strong, getting super fit so I could manage that part of it. Then it taught me that what I'd been doing for years was cooperating with a story in my head about trauma, about all this sort of different stuff that had affected how I saw reality. You know, I can't rule out, obviously, the neurochemical side of things, that maybe, you know, there's a genetic or an epigenetic basis. So I'm always sensitive when I talk about these topics, but, you know, I learned that I was in some ways allowing depression to happen to me. And then I learned also that I had to be I had to get incredibly good at monitoring my internal dialogue. I had to get relentless and ruthless at managing my thinking. So here's the point of what I'm trying to tell you is that all of those years of depression were horrible, and I don't wish them on anybody. But I can now look back and say, what was the purpose of that? Was that allowed? And if it was allowed, why was it allowed? Well, I think it might have been allowed because it taught me how to change my own family system. It taught me how to be a much better parent. It taught me how to love my kids and try to break any generational patterns that were in play. It taught me that I could speak to you about it. Maybe much of it happened so that you're listening to this right now and maybe you're struggling with depression or anxiety, or maybe you've got a family member that does, and I can give you some hope. I can say that there is a way out, that there is healing, that there is growth, that there is change. You know, anxiety, I had massive problems with anxiety, which was always crazy, right? Because I was a professional speaker. You know, I had audiences of over 10,000 people and an anxiety disorder. And I think what it taught me over time, over years, was this journey of trust that I'm on, to learn to just trust God, to trust life, to accept that I'm not in control. You know, that's the thing for me. My mechanism was control. I want to control my life and grip everything and make everything work. So I learned to trust. I'm still learning to trust. But what I want to share with you is that, how was life happening for me? Well, maybe the darkness, maybe the suffering of those years was something that has allowed me to grow, to develop, and to bless other people. There's a good movie out at the moment called Father Stew with Mark Wahlberg. And long story short, it's about this wild party animal, crazy guy that, you know, has this near-death experience, then becomes a priest and, you know, eventually gets, you know, this terrible disease and dies young. I've just ruined the entire film, but go and see it if you can. And he's wrestling with this. He's wrestling with, hang on, I was a really bad dude and I became a good dude and now I'm going to die. But what you find in the film is his journey of acceptance and love and the number of lives that he touched in his life because of his experience. So I just want to say to you today that if you're going through something difficult right now in your health, in your family, in your finances, in your career, You've got to find an empowering meaning. And I know it's hard. But you have to believe that there is something behind it all, organizing things for your good. And I know for some of you that is crazy talk. You're going to be going, Jonathan, my kid is really sick. Jonathan, I just lost my job, Jonathan. So we're not going to play comparisons here, because in some ways I've had a pretty tough life. You may have had tougher. Other person listening to this may have had it easy. Who knows? It doesn't matter. It's not a competition like, showing scars, right? We're just basically going, we all suffer. We all have pain. There is a question of degree. Some of us have terrible suffering. But I'll give you one final example, which I went into on the podcast. We have a family here in Australia called the Abdullah family in Sydney. And tragically, about 2 years ago, their kids, they had 3 or 4 kids, and their cousins were walking down to get ice cream, beautiful young children. There was this man who was on a huge amount of drugs. He'd been drinking massively, went straight through a red light, went up on the gutter and killed, I think it was 4 of the children, including 3 of the Abdullah's children. And they were, I think, a Maronite Catholic family, and despite this devastating loss, from the very start, they moved in forgiveness. They spoke forgiveness. They spoke forgiveness to the TV cameras. They spoke forgiveness to this on and on and on. Now, they were suffering. They were broken. They were absolutely hammered by life. So how can you say, well, Jonathan, God was organizing this. He was behind the scenes. Life was happening for them. It's a great mystery. It is the mystery of suffering. But here's the point. They have impacted so many people through their story of acceptance, of forgiveness. They're not hiding their pain. They're not denying their suffering, but they are finding a way to speak into the world through it. And I noticed last week, they've just been invited to the World Meeting of Families in the Vatican, where they're, speaking there with Pope Francis, right? Do you see, despite that terrible pain, good has come from it. Light has come from it. Wouldn't wish it on anybody. Terrible suffering. But something comes from it. So friends, whatever we're facing, let's trust and believe that there is a force behind it all. And if you can find and trust in that meaning and purpose, then anything's possible. I'd love to know what you think. Would you leave something in the comments today? Would you go, Jonathan, this is crazy talk. This is crazy talk. You don't know what I've been through. No, I don't know what you've been through. I just know what I've been through. And I know that it is better eventually to come out the other side with optimism and hope and purpose and direction and wanting to contribute to other people's pain. Maybe that's what it's all about. Maybe our pain, our suffering is a way to grow so that we can help other people. So I want to finish with a quote from John Henry Newman. It's a very beautiful quote, especially the last paragraph of this, where he talks about no matter what happens to him. Now, who is he? He was a brilliant British intellectual of the 19th century. He was an Anglican minister who left the Anglican Church for the Catholic Church, which at that time was just social death. He came from a very well-known family, so he lost everything. He lost his family, he lost his friends, he was just ostracized massively. But there's a beautiful quote. I want to share it with you now, so let's do it. God has created me to do him some definite service. He has committed some work to me which he has not committed to another. I have my mission. I may never know it in this life, but I shall be told it in the next. I am a link in a chain, a bond of connection between persons. He has not created me for naught. I shall do good. I shall do his work. I shall be an angel of peace, a preacher of truth in my own place, while not intending it, if I do but keep his commandments. Therefore I will trust him. Whatever I am, I can never be thrown away. If I am in sickness, my sickness may serve him. In perplexity, my perplexity may serve him. If I am in sorrow, my sorrow may serve him. He does nothing in vain. He knows what he is about. He may take away my friends. He may throw me among strangers. He may make me feel desolate, make my spirit sink, hide my future from me. Still, he knows what he is about. My dear friend, I just think that there is an organizing principle behind the cosmos, and if it can organize the stars and the planets and gravity and quantum physics, then do we want to tell ourselves that it cannot organize the circumstances of our lives? Yes, we have free will. Yes, we respond to those circumstances with decisions. But wouldn't it be better to think that we are not alone, we are not abandoned, no matter what we face, the joys, the blessings, the suffering, the pain, we can still grow, we can still learn, we can contribute. There's a lot in that today. I hope it's been a blessing to you. I'm going to go to the airport now and see my awesome wife. I've been married 22 years and I cannot wait to see her. I cannot wait to see my girls. I just want to thank you for tuning in today. I'd love you to subscribe. Hit those subscribe bells. Go check out the show notes. Book me to speak. Get a free copy of my book, Bridging the Gap. But God bless you, everybody. My name's Jonathan Doyle. This has been The Daily Message, and I'll have another one for you tomorrow.